Let's get real. Most people won't come right out and tell you when they don't like you. Instead, they mask their feelings with fake smiles, hollow compliments, and forced politeness. Maybe you've been there too, thinking someone was a friend, only to find out later that they were secretly rooting for your downfall. It's harsh, but here's the reality. If you don't pick up on the signs, you'll end up wasting your time and emotional energy on people who can't stand you, but are too cowardly to admit it. Let's cut through the noise and dive into the signs that someone dislikes you, but is hiding it. The truth might sting, but it's better to face it head-on than live in denial. Like and subscribe and watch till the end. 1. They're always joking at your expense. We all know that one person who loves to joke around, especially when the joke is on you. Maybe they poke fun at your quirks, your mistakes, or even your personal life, and they do it with a smile saying, "I'm just messing with you." At first it seems harmless, like playful banter. But let's be real, these jokes are often much more than that. They're calculated digs disguised as humor, aimed at undermining your confidence and self-worth. I remember a time when someone I considered a friend would constantly joke about the way I dressed, the way I spoke, or even the projects I was passionate about. At first I laughed along, thinking it was all in good fun. But as time went on, I started noticing a pattern. Their jokes always targeted my perceived weaknesses, never my strengths. Before long, I found myself second-guessing everything I did, wondering if maybe I really was the problem. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People who consistently joke about your flaws aren't doing it out of affection. They're testing the waters to see how much disrespect you'll tolerate. It's a subtle form of manipulation, a way for them to assert dominance while keeping you in your place. And the worst part, they often get away with it because we're conditioned to believe that if we can't take a joke, we are the ones with the problem. But it's time to flip the script. There's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself when a joke crosses the line. In fact, it's essential. You deserve to be around people who lift you up, not those who tear you down just to get a cheap laugh. True friends don't need to put you down to feel better about themselves. They celebrate your strengths and help you work through your weaknesses without making you the butt of the joke. If you keep letting these jokes slide, it won't just hurt your feelings, it will erode your self-esteem over time. The more you allow it, the more they'll push, until you're left doubting your worth, all because you didn't want to seem too sensitive. I learned the hard way that by laughing along, I was giving them permission to continue disrespecting me. It wasn't until I set firm boundaries that I noticed a shift, not only in how they treated me, but also in how I saw myself. So next time someone cracks a joke at your expense, ask yourself, is this really funny, or is there something more going on? If it's the latter, don't be afraid to call them out. It might be uncomfortable, and it might even end the relationship, but your self-respect is worth far more than someone else's misguided humor. 2. They give backhanded compliments. At first glance, backhanded compliments might seem like mere social awkwardness, but they often carry a deeper, more insidious message. These comments, while appearing to praise, are crafted to undermine and subtly reinforce negative stereotypes. For instance, saying, "You're quite articulate for someone with your background," may seem like a compliment, but it covertly implies that the person doesn't meet certain expectations. I remember a time when I poured my heart into a major project that I was immensely proud of. After weeks of dedication, I finally shared my work with my team. One colleague, who I had believed was supportive, remarked, "Wow, this is actually pretty good for someone like you." The phrase, "for someone like you," felt like a sharp jab beneath the surface of apparent praise. It wasn't a compliment, it was a thinly veiled insult designed to belittle my achievement. Backhanded compliments are a subtle power play, They are crafted to keep you in your place while allowing the giver to appear gracious. By disguising their disparagement as praise, they attempt to undermine your achievements and make you question your abilities, all while preserving plausible deniability. This kind of manipulation can be both toxic and emotionally draining. The Stoic response to such remarks involves recognizing them for what they are, a manifestation of the giver's own insecurities or disdain. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control and to view external opinions with detachment. When faced with a backhanded compliment, it's important to remember that the negativity reflects more on the giver than on you. By maintaining your own sense of self-worth and not letting their subtle jabs affect you, you uphold your Stoic principles of inner tranquility and self-control. In practice, this means trusting your instincts when a compliment feels off. It's perfectly acceptable to ask for clarification, as in, "What exactly do you mean by that?" A genuine person will provide clarity and, if necessary, offer an apology. Conversely, if their intention was indeed to undermine you, confronting their disguised disdain can be a step toward self-respect and personal growth. By holding steadfast to your own values and not allowing backhanded compliments to erode your confidence, you demonstrate resilience and maintain your inner peace. Embrace the wisdom of Stoicism to navigate these subtle social dynamics. And remember, the true measure of your worth is not dictated by others' veiled criticisms, but by your own unwavering sense of self. 3. They're distant when you succeed. Ever notice how some people seem to vanish when you're doing well? It's a strange and disheartening phenomenon. Whether it's landing a new job, acing an important test, or hitting a personal milestone, their reaction is not one of joy but of noticeable distance. Instead of celebrating with you, they might withdraw, their enthusiasm for your success mysteriously absent. I remember a friend who, over time, seemed to become more distant whenever something positive happened in my life. At first, I thought they were just caught up in their own issues or simply busy, but as the pattern repeated itself, it became clear. Their withdrawal was no accident. They were present during my struggles, offering support when things were tough. I recall a specific instance when I got a promotion at work, a milestone I had worked tirelessly for. I shared the news with them, expecting excitement and congratulations. Instead, they barely responded, and soon after their calls and messages grew sparse. It was as if my success had cast a shadow over our friendship. Their absence during moments of triumph contrasted sharply with their unwavering presence during my challenges, revealing a painful truth. While they were quick to offer sympathy, they were uncomfortable with my achievements. It's a painful realization when someone who was once close to you fades into the background when you're thriving. It's not about the specifics of your success, but what it reveals about them. Their inability to share in your joy often stems from their own discomfort and insecurities. Your achievements, instead of being a cause for celebration, highlight their own shortcomings and fears. Rather than confront these uncomfortable feelings, they choose to distance themselves. True friends are those who revel in your victories with genuine happiness, not those who retreat when you shine. If someone pulls away when you succeed, it's a clear signal that they aren't truly invested in your well-being. Instead of letting their actions diminish your joy, recognize it as a reflection of their own limitations, not yours. So, when faced with this emotional distance, remember, your worth and success are not diminished by their inability to celebrate with you. True friendship is marked by unwavering support, not by the fickle presence of those who only show up when it's convenient for them. 4. They're supportive, but only when it benefits them. Have you ever had someone who seemed supportive, but only when it served their own agenda? It's a disheartening experience to realize that some people's support is not given freely, but is contingent upon what they stand to gain. These individuals are eager to help or show up for you when there's something in it for them, whether it's attention, status, or favors. But when their own interests aren't at stake, their support vanishes. I had a colleague like this once. Whenever I was working on a project that had the potential to bring positive attention or accolades, they were the first to offer their assistance. I vividly remember a large presentation I was preparing for. They eagerly volunteered to help with my slides, knowing that their involvement could be seen by the higher-ups as a mark of teamwork and dedication. Their enthusiasm was palpable, and their contributions were invaluable at the time. But the moment the project wrapped up and the benefits for them were no longer apparent, their support evaporated. I had another project, less glamorous and without the chance to enhance their reputation, where I needed help. When I reached out to them, they were suddenly too busy or unavailable. They made excuses, their promises of support melting away. It was a stark contrast to their previous eagerness, and it was then I realized their support had been a strategic play, not a genuine gesture of goodwill. This experience highlighted a painful truth. People who only show up when it benefits them aren't truly supportive. They're opportunists, using you to advance their own interests. While they might appear as friends or allies when their own gain is involved, their loyalty is superficial and conditional. In the end, true support is not measured by the potential benefits, but by the willingness to stand by you without any expectation of reward. The people who are there for you when there's nothing to gain, who offer genuine assistance out of respect or affection, are the ones you can trust. The rest are merely fair-weather friends, offering support only when it aligns with their personal gains. 5. They constantly interrupt or talk over you. A clear sign someone dislikes you is when they constantly interrupt or talk over you in conversations. It's a subtle way of showing they don't value your opinions or what you have to say. They might cut you off mid-sentence, steer the conversation back to themselves, or dismiss your ideas altogether. I've had plenty of conversations where someone would interrupt me so often I could barely get a word in. At first I thought maybe they were just excited or had something important to say, but over time it became clear that they didn't care about my input. They only cared about dominating the conversation. They would jump in before I could finish my thoughts, their interjections becoming a routine rather than an exception. It was as if their main goal was to ensure that my voice was overshadowed and that I remained sidelined in the discussion. This kind of behavior is more than just a conversational hiccup. It's a power move. Interrupting is a way of asserting dominance and control, showing a blatant disregard for the other person's voice. It reflects a lack of respect and an unwillingness to view you as an equal in the exchange. This pattern of behavior revealed a deeper issue. It wasn't about the content of the conversation, but about exerting control and asserting superiority. Each interruption wasn't a mere slip, but a deliberate tactic to make me feel less valued. It was a way of reinforcing their own position while dismissing mine. Over time, it became clear that their actions weren't just about being talkative. They were about making sure that I didn't have a chance to contribute meaningfully. In essence, this behavior signaled a lack of respect and an unwillingness to engage with me as an equal partner in the conversation. True communication thrives on mutual respect and the space for everyone's voice to be heard. If someone consistently interrupts or talks over you, it's a strong signal that they may not see you as an equal or value your contributions. Recognizing this behavior allows you to navigate such interactions with awareness, perhaps setting boundaries or finding ways to address the imbalance. 6. They gossip about you behind your back. When someone gossips about you, they're not just betraying your trust, they're revealing their own insecurity and need for attention. The controversy lies in how normalized gossip has become. People often brush it off, saying, "Everyone does it," but that doesn't make it any less damaging. Here's the deeper truth. When someone gossips about you, they're undermining the foundation of trust that any real relationship should be built on. It doesn't matter if it's small talk or venting. It's still a reflection of how little they value your privacy and respect. I've come to realize that the real danger of gossip is that it erodes relationships from within. You start to doubt not only the person spreading rumors, but also the integrity of every conversation you've shared. So here's my approach now. If I catch wind of someone gossiping about me, I confront it head-on. I no longer let it slide, no matter how uncomfortable the conversation might be. I'll say something like, "I heard you were talking about me. Why didn't you just come to me directly?" It's not easy, but it forces people to own up to their behavior. And here's the final takeaway. Don't tolerate gossip in your relationships. Whether it's aimed at you or someone else, call it out. Surround yourself with people who respect you enough to speak to you, not about you. Life's too short to be dragged down by those who can't respect your trust. True friends have your back, not just your business. 7. They're overly critical of everything you do. Criticism can be constructive, but when someone is constantly picking apart everything you do, it's a sign that they don't have your best interests at heart. Whether it's your work, your appearance, or even your hobbies, they'll find something to criticize. I had a coworker who would nitpick everything I did, from the way I handled projects to the way I interacted with others. No matter how hard I tried, it was never good enough in their eyes. Over time, I realized that their constant criticism wasn't about helping me improve. It was about tearing me down. People who are overly critical are often projecting their own insecurities onto you. They can't stand to see you succeed or feel good about yourself, so they try to chip away at your confidence bit by bit. Every harsh word or negative remark is like a small cut, gradually wearing down your self-esteem. Their constant scrutiny isn't just about your shortcomings. It's a reflection of their own inner turmoil. It's easier for them to focus on your flaws than to confront their own. The louder their criticisms, the clearer it becomes that they're struggling with their own feelings of inadequacy. If someone is constantly criticizing you, ask yourself whether their feedback is truly helpful or just an attempt to make you feel small. If it's the latter, remember this: their words are a reflection of their own doubts, not a measure of your worth. It's time to set boundaries and shield your self-esteem from their unwelcome attacks. Your value isn't defined by their negativity, but by your own belief in yourself. Conclusion. Recognizing the signs that someone dislikes you but is hiding it is crucial for your mental and emotional well-being. It can be tough to face the truth, especially if it's someone you care about, but ultimately, you deserve to be surrounded by people who respect and value you. Don't waste your time on fake friends who undermine you with jokes, backhanded compliments, or constant criticism. Instead, invest your energy in the relationships that uplift and empower you. Trust your instincts, set boundaries, and remember that it's better to have a few genuine connections than a dozen superficial ones. Life is too short to keep people around who can't see your worth. Remember, the value of your relationships is not determined by the actions of those who hide their true feelings, but by the authenticity and respect that you cultivate within them. Embrace the wisdom of Stoicism to guide you through these complexities, and choose relationships that reflect your own principles of truth and integrity.